The Repair Lot, a one-stop shop where a crack team of experts bring classic cars roaring back to life.
20 years and it's fired up.
Is it then? Hey?
No job is too tough, no car too challenging.
No, I've truly never seen a car like this. It's amazing.
Award-winning motoring journalist Charlie is meeting the owners.
Aaron, welcome to the workshop.
Hello, how are you doing? You all right?
And assessing how to keep their drives alive.
Immediately, that steering column is juddering up and down, isn't it?
Together with old and new school mechanics Derek and Hannah.
Hey.
That's really good, isn't it?
Result.
Yeah.
Freya the trimmer.
Right, that's all the stitching done. I'm really happy with that.
And bodywork specialist Jerry Lee.
It brings the whole car together. It really, really looks nice.
The team are on a mission
Oh, wow, it looks so different.
to put any classic in any condition back on the road.
Absolutely fantastic!
At the workshop, time is running out for a 60s brick classic with a bad case of corrosion.
It's a minute to midnight with this car, it really is. If I leave it any longer, it will just rot away.
Bodywork expert Jerry Lee faces her biggest challenge yet.
Started off thinking it was going to be a couple of days' work. Now realising it's probably going to be more like a few weeks' work.
Mechanic Hannah gets stuck into a tricky fix.
So there's only one go, so I've got to make sure I get this right.
A family man wants to get his 1980s BMW back on the road.
Kids came along, got two little ones, so it got neglected and it's been garaged for the last 4 years.
Car trimmer Freya finds problems with the rough convertible roof.
It looks like someone's done a bit of a DIY repair to it, which suggests that there's more of a problem here than we thought.
And Hannah and Derek have an alarming time with the engine.
Whoa!
Can the team get the Beamer ready for some top-down fun?
It's a lovely job to be doing on a sunny day because I'm usually cooped up inside the workshop.
And herald a new start for this Triumph.
Really fragile. Broke it, I broke it.
Being trailered in today, an 80s icon, a BMW 3 Series convertible. This car has it all. Style, performance, handling, and room for big hair and even bigger shoulder pads. For owner Iqbal, this was his childhood dream drive. Later, as a family man, he couldn't bear to sell it. So it was stored away with a plan to get it back on the road. One day. Today, he hopes that moment has come and the workshop can breathe life back into the Beamer. Car assessor Charlie is here to take a look at this desirable drop top.
Iqbal, it's ace to meet you. Thanks
really
for
nice to meet
bringing your retro cool car down to the workshop.
I've always really loved this version of the 3 Series, kind of iconic for me. You know, I always wanted the 325, chrome bumpers, convertible, and red, to be honest, because, you know, it's an 80s sports car, it kind of has to be red. So getting it was amazing.
Can you talk me through some of its like standout features, the things that really shout at you and say, this is that 80s car?
Yeah, I mean, I think like, the chrome bumpers, as I said, the wheels as well, and I think just the shape of it, sort of that boxy shape, the rear lights, I think they're like, you know, the classic 80s BMW sort of features.
The 3 Series was a classic piece of German saloon design. Subtle, understated, but with the handling and power to scare a sports car.
This one's actually older than me, and I bought it about 8 years ago.
Okay.
Drove it for 3 summers and loved it, you know, with the roof down in the sun. And then kids came along, got two little ones, so it got neglected and it's been garaged for the last 4 years. Every summer I've said I'll get it back on the road, and something or other has come up and stopped that. So the kids definitely took over. But I think now they're at the age where they probably enjoy sitting in the back of it now, especially with the roof down. So hopefully we'll get it back on the road and they can also enjoy it.
So let's have a little bit of a closer look. Like,
Sure.
There's definitely some issues with the paintwork that we need to kind of look at.
Obviously it needs some work to get it back up
Sure.
to life.
I noticed a bit of oxidisation here, so we can absolutely have a look at that and see if we can get the car looking super shiny once again. That is so retro. I love it. Awesome.
I think it's the check cloth is you know, very much 80s, and the stereo and all of the controls around that and the clock. So simple, but actually just looks quite cool and iconic, really. Like I say, it's been sat for a while, so it could do with a bit of a clean. But otherwise, yeah, no, I think the interior's in really good nick.
A little bit of sprucing, but we'll leave it as it is to keep it in period, yeah?
Yeah.
I also want to check out this soft top. I mean, it looks pretty square, it looks pretty neat to me, but this back window, can't really see through it. It's a bit milky, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It does actually affect the view out the back. Otherwise, I think the roof's in quite good condition, but that back window definitely does have some milky patches. So if that's something that you could look at, that would be great.
And how's the car running?
So before I put it away, it was running absolutely fine. Obviously, it's been sat for a while, so I think, it probably needs some work before it gets started again. But no, it's always started first time and run very well.
So it certainly needs a bit of recommissioning before, you take it out for that first summer top-down drive with the kids in the back.
Yeah, definitely.
So we've got a bit of a to-do list, haven't we? We're going to give it a good polish, buff and shine. We're going to look at that soft top. We'll get that engine recommissioned and you can safely drive off into the sunset with the kids. How does that sound?
Yeah, I mean, that would be amazing.
At first glance, the Beamer's future looks bright. But this car's over 35 years old. It's been off the road for 4 years. No wonder Derek is having to push it into the workshop.
I really love the idea of Iqbal taking his kids out in this car and passing on that passion for classics, particularly because this is a car of his childhood dreams. And so we've got our work cut out, but I can't wait to see what the guys in the workshop can do.
For car trimmer Freya, the big challenge is to tackle the replacement of the milky plastic rear window.
So I can't cut the window out while it's in situ. It needs to get on my bench and be stitched in by my machine, so we've got a really tough stitch there. I need to take this hood off to enable me to get the new window in, if at all possible.
She's already removed the front seats for better access as she tries to work out how BMW put this roof puzzle together.
So I'm going to have to free all of this off to release the cover from the frame. But what I'm noticing is there's some sort of sealant here. It looks like someone's done a bit of a DIY repair to it, which suggests that there's more of a problem here than we've thought.
Sadly, Freya often discovers DIY repairs on classics that can cause knock-on problems.
So I think that whatever they've used to glue down in these corners, they've potentially put across the whole of the front of the hood, which causes me a few problems, because if I unpick that glue with the wear that's already on this hood, it could potentially rip the hood. Therefore, the whole hood would then be completely gone and I'd need to replace the whole thing. Considering this hood is in fairly good condition and is original to the car, I'm really going to have a think about what I do.
In the end, she decides to leave the old repair and the hood in place.
I'm going to leave the window in the hood and I'm going to mask it off and clean it up and add a special compound which I feel will improve the look of it greatly.
Freya's done a deep clean like this before on clear vinyl. If you're lucky and skillful, the results can be brilliant.
So I'm masking off the hood so that the compound that I use doesn't get on the hood and damage the canvas that's there now. It's quite satisfying masking up a hood. It's very easy to go off in your own little world. So the first stage is to just clean off all the dirt and grime that's been accumulating. There's lots coming off. So this is the compound that I'll be using. I need to put it on really gently and use little circles and be really meticulous about how I do this to ensure that I don't damage the windscreen at all.
If this industrial cleaner works, then the window could be saved. If it doesn't, then Freya is looking at replacing the whole hood.
So now that it's dried off, I can start buffing it off, and this might be a moment of truth to see whether it's made a magical transformation.
On a bruised BMW convertible, Freya is trying to turn a milky rear windscreen clear.
Wow, I can see a change straight away. It's looking clearer.
The tiny grit in the cleaning compound is slicing through the damage on the surface of the vinyl.
Wow, that looks incredible.
Freya is ready to finish off the hood with a full wash and brush up.
All good?
Yeah,
You ready? High speed takeoff?
go for it.
But she needs a little help from a friend.
There you go. I'll leave you to it.
Sweet. Thanks, Derek.
And the deep clean begins with a vacuum cleaner.
So it may seem weird that I'm hoovering this, but actually it's a really good tip because there's so much dirt and debris on this cover. You want to get it off first before you clean it, and that'll be less time used with the pressure washer on it, which is less stress on the cover. And as it's quite fragile, you really don't want to put more stress on it.
Next, it's given a spray.
This is a special hood cleaner, which will help get rid of all of those stains that were on here. It's designed specifically for cars, and even more so just for car hoods. So I'm trying to just get this on the hood and not all over the car.
A good scrub with a stiff sponge gets into the stains and loosens the dirt.
It's a lovely job to be doing on a sunny day because I'm usually cooped up inside the workshop.
And then it's onto the bit everyone loves, firing up the jet wash.
So it's all done and it's looking amazing. I can't believe how well that window's come up. I really didn't think you'd be able to see through it as well as you can. And the hood itself, it's looking shiny and it's looking black again, not dusty and dirty.
Heading in today is a Triumph Herald from the 1960s, a perky, practical classic. It's Thomas's first ever car, and he's super proud of owning it. He's training as a mechanic, and he's dedicated to keeping it running right. But the bodywork is suffering badly, and he needs help to save his coupe from the crusher.
Tom,
Hi there.
hey! Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
And this is a very cool little car. We've got a Triumph Herald here, is that right?
Yes, that is correct. 1200, 1968.
So you're a mechanic by trade.
Yes.
What work have you done on the car?
Well, I've done a lot of work. This has been my pride and joy. I've been keeping it going for ages. Yeah.
Should we take a look?
Of course you can. I've had the engine apart, just mainly the top end. I've done the head, done the tappets, decoked it. Most recently, I've rebuilt the carburettor.
Tom has got a really good handle on the mechanics, not only because he's learnt on that car, but he's also studying it, which is amazing because we really need people to carry on these heritage skills so that these cars stay on the road.
Thomas is confident with the oily stuff, but he knows that's only half the story of keeping an old car on the road.
I'm just starting to notice, you know, a couple bits of rust.
Yes, that is the issue. Mechanically, it is sound. Underneath it is sound. The issue is cosmetics, how it looks. It looks good from a distance, but as soon as you get a bit closer, you start to go, oh, it's a bit brown, yes.
It really is speckled.
There's no one panel on this car that hasn't been touched, unfortunately. It is everywhere.
And it's a real concern, isn't it? Because, you know, once it starts, it doesn't stop.
They just tend to go. I mean, it's a minute to midnight with this car, it really is. It's getting close to that point where if I leave it any longer, it will just rot away.
So, you're a mechanic, you're pretty handy, you've got that engine running really well. What makes you uncomfortable about tackling the paintwork?
I would absolutely love to do the paintwork on this car, but it's a lot of work and I just haven't got skills. I need help with this car.
And is this a forever car for you?
This is a forever car. This will be staying with me. Well, this is my first car and will be my last car, definitely.
So, We're going to stop the clock on this rust. We're going to sort out all those problems, respray it. How does that sound?
That sounds really good. Thank you very much.
Charlie's confidence is infectious, but it's bodywork expert Jerry Lee who's going to catch a cold. A full body restoration and respray on a 1960s classic? No easy task.
I really hope I haven't overpromised on this one. Jerry Lee has got a lot of work to do. As she strips back that paintwork, who knows what she's going to find.
Cracking on straight away, Jerry Lee is joined by mechanic Derek as they take the Triumph to pieces.
Oh no, a bit of broken glass. Oh, it's a little bit broken.
Broken?
Yeah, this bit. Do you think we might be able to repair that? It would be good to keep the original light in there rather than having like a new and an old one.
Is that all the pieces?
Yeah. Well, I've got to keep these pieces safe then, all right?
Okay.
Broken glass is just one of their problems. There's body rot wherever they look. Even the screws are rusted in and need persuasion to come out.
I hate hitting classic cars like this,
I know,
Derek.
but it's just got to be done. Go on, go for it, girl.
Right. Yay!
Yeah, result.
Right.
The truly scary thing on this crusty coupe is dealing with the big bodywork panels.
Hurry up.
Jerry Lee won't know what challenges lie ahead for the bonnet until she digs in on the bench.
The car looks super lovely and shiny over there. Over here, up close, it is not that great. It's a lot more rust, it's a lot more work. This whole section needs to come out. New plate needs to go in, and I need to strip all of this back to see if it needs any extra work.
Now it's all about removing the rust and working with the good metal left on the car.
This is the fun part. There's no going back from this. I'm cutting into the steel. I didn't expect that to come off so easily. That's, full of filler. So I think it needs a new plate. I would say, in my professional opinion, it needs a new bit of metal in there.
She's laughing now, but the Herald is proving more of a disaster than a triumph. This is the first of many areas of rust Jerry Lee will have to remake with good metal. Cutting, shaping, welding into place, and then grinding back each piece. It's a massive mission.
Started off thinking it was going to be a couple of days' work. Now realizing it's probably going to be more like a few weeks' work. I'm starting to think that this car is a little bit cursed.
At the repair lot, back with the Beamer. Mechanic Hannah has the tricky task of trying to get this 3 Series to turn over after 4 years off the road.
The issue is this car has not been running for quite a while, so what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to go through it really meticulously, look at the fluids, look to see if there's any leaks. Obviously, over time, rubbers can diminish as well, so check for any cracks, check the battery. It's going to be going through it from the front to the back and making sure that this car is ready for me to finally start up.
No car can start without that vital spark. So first check is the battery.
So I'm going to just touch these on the terminals. It's showing no voltage whatsoever. It's basically rubbish.
Not the best of starts. That's a new battery to put on the shopping list. And the BMW will need all new fuel too.
Over time, fuel actually decays and loses its ability to ignite. So it's important that I take all this old fuel out and then I'm going to dispose of it and put fresh stuff in.
The old petrol is stored before being safely disposed of.
What I'd expect is for the petrol to be clear, almost with a blue tinge, and this is actually really dirty.
The radiator is next to be drained.
Draining the coolant is not my favourite job. It smelled of just fishy old water. It was horrible.
Then she checks the back axle of this rear-wheel drive car.
No leaks from the diff, but what I'm actually going to do is drain the diff oil anyway. So this is what provides power to the rear wheels. You've got the axles here that come out, and it's important that we have good quality oil in there.
Regular oil changes keep all the moving parts living their best life.
So I've got all of the old oil out now, and I'm just going to put back the drain plug so that when I put the new oil in, it doesn't come out. Now, what I've done is I've checked the manufacturer specification of what oil this should be. It's important you do that because the manufacturers obviously give you the right oils to use.
The engine needs an oil and filter change too.
Whenever we change the oil, we always make sure we change the filter as well. The engine will run a lot more efficiently, a lot smoother. It's really important that you do regular oil changes. Right, so there we go. So there's the old oil filter. So as you can see, the oil enters. In there is some paper filter, and it actually spreads around, catches all the contaminants, and then pushes it back into the engine.
Hannah's been nose to tail on this car looking for faults. Now, finally, she's happy to refill the oil and fuel up with fresh petrol.
Hannah, here's that battery you ordered earlier.
Excellent.
After a day of checks, the 3 Series might be ready for its first start in 4 years.
If you can give me a hand by turning it over,
Yep.
that'd be excellent.
OK, brilliant. I'll get in.
OK. Just tighten it up.
I get to turn the key.
Whoa! Whoa! Press off it.
I think.
Has it got a flipper?
There would be. Whoa!
Excellent.
That's a 1980s alarm. Come back to haunt us.
Oh, it was awful. I can't hear you anymore now. It was so loud, which is obviously really good for the car that we've got a working alarm, but it's not so good when you stood right next to it.
Here we go.
Wipers work, but everything crosses is going to turn over.
Yeah.
OK, go on then. That is brilliant.
Hey, look what I did.
That sounds so good.
Oh, that's awesome. It sounds really nice and smooth.
Yeah.
Back with the Herald, and as always, Jerry Lee is in eco mode, going through the parts she stripped off the car and trying to save as many as she can.
There's a lot of things behind the scenes that you wouldn't think of, so whenever we can save the original parts, we'll always do our best to do that. So hopefully we can save this bit.
Jerry Lee sands back the surface corrosion on this headlamp mount. She uses a rust inhibitor to stop it returning.
So you just want to make sure that you're getting it into all the cracks, all the crevices that are there. So I'm going to leave this for about 10 minutes and we'll see it change colour.
The sign it's all working well is the surface gradually going dark. Another original part saved. The Herald body shell has moved outside. Things are about to get dirty. The glass is coming out ahead of the body sanding.
Yep, it's coming out.
Jerry Lee wants this car taken back to bare bones so she can make sure all the hard-to-access areas are also painted.
I've already taken the 2 nuts off the boot panel, so it should come off easily. Okay. Give us better access to sanding inside.
Okay.
Ready?
That'll make a much nicer finish.
The idea is to retain as many original parts and seals as possible so they can go back on after the respray.
Really fragile. I broke it. I broke it, I broke it. Didn't go very well with the rear bumper. I sadly broke it into pieces. Was not my intention. So now I have to find a replacement for it. You know, things happen.
Another spare part to add to the list. To try and keep the interior as clean as possible, they mask the car before the hard work of sanding begins, and then they dig in for a few days of hard graft.
Awesome.
Freya has her mind on the BMW interior. After 4 years in a dusty garage, the seats need a serious clean.
So I'm spraying on a citrus cleaner that's been slightly diluted and just scrubbing with this special sponge, which has got some lovely little bristles that will get into the fabric and bring out all of the dirt.
Freya isn't afraid to put in some muscle. She knows that these BMW textiles are hard-wearing.
So I'm just using the wet vac on the seats to suck up as much excess water as I can, and that will help with the drying process.
The seats will dry overnight, hopefully restoring the standout check interior to its former glory. Over at the paint booth, Jerry Lee is giving the bodywork on the BMW some love. She's already hand-washed the car, so she can then give the paint an industrial clean called mopping with compound.
I want Iqbal to be super amazed when he sees the car. So I'm just adding the compound. I'm gonna put some water on it. You just want to make sure that it glides. It helps it glide and not stay on the paint.
The mop is a rotating head that moves the compound around, cutting back the damage on the surface of the paint.
You want to make sure that you have a lot of water on here. I sometimes see cars with big swirly marks where they haven't used enough water and it's marked paint.
Jerry Lee is an expert at coaxing the colour back.
Right, it is looking pretty good.
The paint on the whole car needs a freshen up. It's a full day's work, but the change can be incredible, taking the Beamer back to the 80s.
So the polish is coming up really well. I am just giving it a quick wipe with a bit of a coarser cloth. And now I'm going to finish off with a finer cloth, which will give it that elegant, nice, smooth finish.
But there's one part of the car which is definitely not looking smooth.
This has been annoying me since I first saw the car. So I'm going to try moving it to the side and then gluing it up on there. Nothing happened, it's fine. I'll just use some glue to put it back on.
Oops!
I've only got one go of this, so I'm a little bit nervous, but it should be fine. Right, give this a go. I think that was the most nerve-wracking thing I did in the car. That's the final touch. Amazing.
When the BMW arrived, nobody knew what 4 years in storage had done to the engine in this 80s icon. Would it ever run again? And then there was the damaged rear window, dirty interior and faded paintwork too. Today, Iqbal returns, hoping his BMW has been saved from storage and is ready for some top-down cruising with the family.
Iqbal, hey!
Hi, Charlie, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks.
Nice to see you again.
Thanks for coming back to the workshop. Today is the big reveal. You know, it's been a long time coming for you, hasn't it?
It has, yeah, definitely. I'm really, really excited, really looking forward to seeing how it looks now.
I'm going to whip this cover off.
Wow, the colour's amazing. It's looking great. The polish has gone really well on it. It is that deep glowing red that it should be.
It's revived it entirely, hasn't it? That long gone is that dull pink colour.
Yeah, definitely. The sun shining on it. It's brilliant.
One of the other things that you pointed out was the roof. You know, soft top, it kind of faded. It was looking pretty tired, wasn't it? And it wouldn't have been right to refresh the paintwork and not address the BMW's hat. So what do you reckon?
It looks like new, actually. I can actually see inside the car from here. It looks great. So I'll be able to actually see out the back window, which will be amazing.
One of the things was that this car hadn't been driven for years. Shall we see if that engine turns over?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Fingers crossed.
Let's do it.
Hey.
Wow. Sounds good.
Yes.
Sounds really good.
How does it feel then to have it literally brought back to life?
It's something I'd wanted to do for a while, but didn't really think it was going to happen. So this is amazing that it's actually done. Can't wait to get it out on the road. Feels like it's ready to go now.
After 4 years away, the BMW roars back onto the B roads.
Feels amazing to have it running again. Engine feels like it's in really good condition. It was probably about 5 years ago that I last drove it, so and at that point I was always a bit worried about whether it was going to start, there was going to be an issue with it, so I'm really pleased that it's been reconditioned and it's now in great condition. I think the kids will love it when they get the opportunity to sit in the back with the roof down. I think they'll absolutely love it.
At the repair lot, in the paint booth, it's Triumph time. The Herald has moved on. Jerry Lee has primed the whole car and is doing final checks before laying colour on the first body panels.
All these little layers of cleaning and wiping just add to a better finish. So it's important to take the time, be patient enough to get the best finish possible, because you don't want to be going over this again. By priming this, we've taken out all the imperfections, and we've put so much work into this over the past few days that it really is worth going over it with the last cleaning cloths and cleaning products just to get the best finish we could possibly get.
The entire car is going to be resprayed a few sections at a time so she can get a really top-end finish. And Jerry Lee has tracked down the original colour code to make sure it's the same blue that owner Thomas loves.
Ready to start painting?
Jerry Lee makes confident sweeps over the panel, laying the paint evenly. It's tricky though. Too much and it runs, too little and the panels will have a poor finish.
Colour's looking great. Thomas is going to love it. Only a few coats left.
Next day, and the paint on the Triumph has dried. Jerry Lee is now working on the surface to get the perfect finish.
So I'm pretty happy with how the paintwork's come up. There's a little run that I have found over here. It looks like because of the edge, there's been quite a bit of paint that's sort of accumulated and it's just started to drip down. And you can see the marks that have just started to form with the dripping down. So I'm going to start rubbing down all the bumps. I just got to really make sure that I don't hit this edge, because that's where it's really easy to remove the paint quite quickly. Superfine sandpaper is really quite delicate, so it's perfect for removing any kind of imperfections. It very lightly goes over the paint, so it doesn't actually damage it at all. The best way to feel for imperfections is with the bare hand. Some people do it through gloves, but I don't think you get that good a touch, that good a feel for it. This is now dry. I've gone over to see that I've really removed all the runny bits. They've gone. So now I'm just going to put some polish on it, shake it a little bit like ketchup, and then put it on.
It's only when the surface is super shiny that Jerry Lee will be able to see how the light catches the panel and if the paint run has been removed.
I just need to check the run, which has gone, which is excellent.
Respray work on the Herald is cracking on. Right now, Hannah is helping with the broken indicator Jerry Lee found on day one of the restoration.
So it's actually this one. So this is in 4 different parts. I've got the pieces here that have obviously broken off from the corner. So what I'm going to try and do, and I'm not sure if it's going to work, but I'm going to clean the surfaces and then I'm going to glue these parts back on and hope it, looks good enough to replace back on the car.
Hannah cleans the edges with brake cleaner so that the modern glue has the best surface to bind to.
So there's only one go, so I've got to make sure I get this right. No turning back. It's so fiddly, I'll probably end up sticking my fingers to it. So it looks really simple, but I've got to get it right first time because with super glue, I can't just break it off, it's glass, and I'm going to end up messing it all up. So I've got to make sure all the glue is on properly. So just filling in the gaps and joins that are still left, just to make it a bit more secure on there. Now I'm just going to let that dry for a couple of minutes, and then that should be good to go back on.
At last, the Herald is back from the paint shop. All the freshly painted panels need to be refitted on the gleaming body.
So we want to lift it up and then put the hooks underneath. You good?
It's nerve-wracking because this is where the car can easily be damaged.
Okay, so we just need to slot these in on each side.
With the Triumph, teamwork makes the dream work.
I'm really happy Thomas got this car to us because it's taken so much work to get it to this standard. We've done so much on it. We've stripped it back, we've sanded it, we've painted it, we've welded, we've grinded. There's so much that we've done to this.
We? You've done it. No. I mean, yeah, there's just so much to get this all back together. And we've still got a long way to go, but he's going to be chuffed. Although it's been a mission, it's looking really good.
For Jerry Lee, fitting the restored side light is a major milestone. It was the first thing she stripped off the car, and is the part Hannah managed to mend.
I'm so happy. It's brilliant when we can actually save the original pieces.
When it arrived, it was also on the wrong side of the car and upside down. So she's putting that right too.
Looking great. I'm really happy with that. Excellent.
As the Herald heads towards the finish line, Hannah makes sure every part matches the quality of the new paint job.
I've just put a bit of polish on them. I'm now just buffing it up, but they've come up a lot cleaner.
The letters push through the pre-drilled holes. Hannah just has to spell the name right.
What a triumph.
And the last job? Hannah's replacing the white bumper covers that disintegrated when Jerry Lee removed them.
The Triumph specialists that we've used, this was literally their last set, so really lucky to get hold of them, and it looks so much better with these new ones on.
With the car complete, a cover goes on to protect the paint, because tomorrow, Thomas returns. When Thomas drove into the yard weeks ago, the Herald was on course for the scrap heap. unless the team could turn back time with a full-body restoration.
Oh, yeah.
Jerry Lee and Derek meticulously stripped the car and rooted out rust. Then, the prepped panels were given a fresh coat of the original paint colour, retaining that period feel for this pretty coupe. Thomas is on his way in, hoping his Herald is now a head-turner. Charlie is here to reveal the restoration.
Thomas,
Hello, nice to see you again.
Nice to see you. Welcome back to the workshop.
Thank you very much.
So this is your daily driver, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, it's been greatly missed, definitely. Yeah.
Shall we see if the team have managed to stop the clock?
Yes, please.
Let's do it.
Beautiful. It's immaculate. I mean, thank you so much.
Have a good look.
I know, it's just breathtaking. It's just too much to take in at this point. It's just... Oh, man.
And it's the right colour?
It's the right colour. It's the perfect colour.
I've got something to show you.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, it is quite the oh dear. This is an example
Oh, my
of
God.
the rot that we found in your car. And also,
Wow.
if you see here, that is an old bodged repair job.
It scares me to think that I drove it around like that. I mean, I wouldn't have done anything of an accident or anything. It's amazing that it held together as it was. That is awful. It really is. I mean, I could never have done anything like this. Anything close to what you guys have done is absolutely amazing. I mean, it's just, I mean, it's blue. It's unbelievable that you went from the car that came in to what it is now. It's unrecognisable almost. It really is. Your team have done an amazing job. I mean, really, thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much.
You're really welcome.
With its rusty days now firmly in the rear-view mirror, Thomas's forever car has a new lease of life.
It feels absolutely beautiful. In fact, I can finally see reflections, and it's the deepest, glossiest blue I've ever seen. It is gorgeous. It is absolutely wonderful.